The war in Ukraine is still raging. May 20th, 2026. Ukraine's 57th Separate Motorized Infantry Brigade, Donetsk region. Russian soldiers continue moving toward Ukrainian positions one by one, often unaware that FPV drones are already above them. Watch these moments carefully. Some soldiers try hiding in corners or behind thin cover that offers almost no protection. Others rest in completely open terrain, fully exposed. Some hear the FPV drone approaching and simply freeze in place. But once the drone has locked on, no cover, no silence, and no stillness is enough to avoid the strike. Sent forward alone, found every time. This footage captures one of the most desperate moments on the front line. A 414th Magyar Birds drone operator is tracking a Russian soldier moving through a wooded area. The soldier tries to hide among the trees, but once he realizes the drone is following him, he breaks into a run, only to find there is nowhere to take cover. Panicking, he attempts to fight back by throwing his rifle toward the drone. When that fails, he grabs a tree branch and throws it as well. None of it makes any difference. He cannot escape the drone's pursuit. When a soldier throws his own weapon at a drone, what does that moment tell you about the psychological state of Russian infantry on this front? 2 Russian soldiers on motorcycles, and a Signum Battalion drone operator already closing in with an FPV drone. The first rider narrowly escapes. A split second and a slight change of direction. Just enough. The second rider doesn't get the same chance. Another FPV drone strike on a Russian soldier riding a motorcycle. This time, a Magyar Birds drone operator conducting reconnaissance deep inside the Donetsk region spotted a Russian soldier moving at high speed across the terrain. But no matter how fast the motorcycle was, it still wasn't faster than an FPV drone. The soldier heard the drone only at the very last moment, but by then, the outcome was already inevitable. In this footage, a Russian drone operator is positioned inside forest fortifications near the Lyman region. The operator is fully aware that reconnaissance drones are watching him. But instead of moving, he simply stands behind a tree and observes. A short time later, he returns to his trench. Not long after, a Ukrainian FPV drone is sent directly toward the position. The Russian soldier fails to survive the strike. 2 Russian soldiers on a motorcycle, heading into a tree line to hide. Ukraine's 110th Territorial Defense Brigade FPV drone was already watching. The tree line they chose didn't offer enough cover. The drone followed them in. They didn't get away. A Russian soldier, alone, aware he's being watched. He raises his weapon and opens fire at the SKELIA 425 drone above him. He's ready for an FPV closing in. That's not what comes. A munition dropped from above. Not a kamikaze strike, a bomb delivered while the drone stays out of range. By the time he understood what kind of attack was coming, it was already too late. This time, Russian soldiers on an ATV become the drone's target. As the FPV drone moves in, both soldiers jump off and run for the trees. One escapes, the other does not. 4 Russian soldiers cross a river on a simple inflatable boat, paddling with oars. A Ukrainian drone from the 34th Separate Marine Brigade, Borisven, spots them before they reach the shore. They land, but the chaos starts immediately. An FPV drone strikes as soon as they step onto the riverbank. The first explosion wounds several. The survivors scatter, running toward the tree line, diving into bushes, trying to disappear. The drones follow. One by one, they are struck. No cover, no escape. Not even the river offered safety. When crossing a river is just the beginning of the danger, what does a soldier do to survive? In this instance, the Russian soldier targeted by the FPV drone was only a few meters away from Ukrainian defensive positions. He was likely disoriented, possibly lost, or unaware of where he was heading. As the drone closed in, he panicked and dropped to the ground, becoming an easy target for the strike. Situations like this raise a broader question. Why are some soldiers moving aimlessly in frontline areas. This footage captures one of the most striking moments on the front line. As an FPV drone operator was preparing to strike a Russian soldier, the man emerged from the bushes and signaled that he wanted to surrender. He was unarmed, his uniform torn, and he appeared in poor condition. His request to surrender was accepted, and he began following the drone. Along the way, he signaled that he needed water, and supplies were dropped to him from the drone. After a long journey, he eventually reached Ukrainian positions and surrendered to the soldiers there. These two Russian soldiers made a critical mistake. When a Ukrainian reconnaissance drone spotted them, they immediately took cover inside a disabled armored vehicle. But FPV drones soon followed. The vehicle was struck by two FPV drone attacks. Trapped inside, the soldiers were unable to escape, and the ammunition inside the armored vehicle began to detonate. Strel's unit, 4th Border Guard Detachment, and this operation went far beyond direct strikes. 2 fuel depots burned, 2 generators destroyed, 2 Russian drones taken down. But the standout work here is the mine clearance. Russian forces have been laying mine barriers to consolidate their positions and slow Ukrainian movement. Strel's operators detected them and detonated them remotely, using drones to clear a minefield without putting a single soldier at risk. Signum Battalion clearing the sky, this time targeting Russian DJI Mavic drones. The Mavic isn't a strike drone, but it's one of the most dangerous systems on this front precisely because of what it does before the strike. Real-time artillery correction, target acquisition, locating Ukrainian infantry positions. Every Mavic that stays in the air is feeding coordinates to Russian artillery. Take it down and the artillery fires blind. The chain between observation and strike is broken. Signum isn't just intercepting drones, they're protecting the infantry on the ground below by removing the eyes above them. 142nd Mechanized Brigade, artillery guided by reconnaissance drones, Russian infantry advancing in force. The reconnaissance drone feeds real-time targeting data directly to the artillery crews. The rounds land exactly where the soldiers are moving. This is the original drone-artillery combination that has defined this war from the beginning, long before FPV drones dominated the footage. Reconnaissance sees, artillery strikes. Simple, proven, devastating against concentrated infantry. Henichesk-Hirka, Kherson region, 2 targets, 1 strike package. A Russian FSB headquarters hit directly, and a Pantsir S 1 air defense system destroyed in the same operation. The FSB facility is worth noting. Russian intelligence services have been placing their command infrastructure in resort buildings and coastal hotels, repurposing civilian tourism infrastructure as military headquarters. This isn't the first time Ukraine has struck one of these locations. The result of this single operation, approximately 100 Russian personnel confirmed as casualties. 1 operation, an intelligence HQ gone, a Pantsir gone, 100 personnel removed from the battlefield. When Russian intelligence services set up headquarters in resort hotels, does that make them harder or easier to identify as targets? 1 operation, 10 targets, across Donetsk and Zaporizhzhia simultaneously. Magyar Birds and Ukraine's unmanned systems forces working through the list, an S-300V radar system and fuel tanker destroyed in Donetsk. A Tor air defense system and a semi-truck hit in Zaporizhzhia. A BM-27 Uragan multiple rocket launcher gone. A command post, a drone ammunition workshop, a meeting point for Russian officers, a UAV control center, all struck. And in Berdyansk, a port crane destroyed. Infrastructure that loads and unloads military equipment through the port, now out of service. That's the 19th and 20th Russian air defense elements, destroyed by Ukrainian drone forces in May alone. And we're only 3 weeks in. Every radar gone makes the next strike easier. Every air defense system eliminated opens a wider corridor for what comes next. When 20 air defense elements are destroyed in 21 days, at what point does Russia's air defense network simply stop functioning? That's everything for today. Here's where the front stands as of May 20th, 2026, day 1547 of this war. Over the past day, 233 combat clashes were recorded, with the heaviest fighting in the Pokrovsk and Huliaipol sectors. Russian forces launched 98 airstrikes and deployed over 8,900 kamikaze drones. Russian total losses have now crossed 1,352,980 personnel. Overnight, Ukrainian drones struck the Norsy refinery in Nizhny Novgorod, Russia's fourth largest, forcing its main processing unit to shut down. The refinery processes 16 million tons of oil annually and produces gasoline, diesel, and jet fuel. Virtually all major refineries in central Russia have now been forced to halt or scale back output after recent drone attacks. SBU Alpha Special Operations Forces also hit an FSB headquarters and a Pantsir S-1 air defense system in Henicheska-Hirka, Kherson region. Russian losses from that single operation reached approximately 100 personnel. The front holds. The drone war never stops. No refinery, no headquarters, no position is safe. Subscribe for daily Frontline coverage. No agenda, just the facts. See you in the next one.